Then in disgrace, with fortune and immense eyes, I all alone between my outcast state, and rebel death heaven with my bootless cries. And I look upon myself and curse my fate, wishing me like one more rich in hope. Featured like him friends possessed. Sonnet 29, Shakespeare. Remus. The day Remus got his Hogwarts letter was the happiest day of his life. He was sitting at the breakfast table eating a piece of toast while shooting glances at the father, waiting for a moment when John Lupin would look up, sneer in disgust, and tell him that he didn't like animals at the table and to get out of his sight. His father was reading the Daily Prophet and seemed engrossed in an article, so Remus allowed himself to slow down a little. Sometimes he only had time for few fights before he was chased away, either to the back garden with his high walls so he couldn't escape, or to his room down in the basement of the cottage. The basement had been his bedroom since that night, because the walls and doors were thick enough to contain transformed werewolves. By now, Remus' mattress and other bedroom furnishings, spare though they were permanently shredded and spotted with blood. Only his few most treasured possessions, which he stored on top of his wardrobe, were saved. Sometimes Remus wondered if he wouldn't have been better off if his father had turned him over to magical creatures department at ministry rather than keeping him trapped at the home, though some feeling of duty towards the dead five he'd had loved so much. At times, the cabin fever got so bad that Remus thought the wolf would tear right through his skin in effort to escape. When things really got too bad, he would creep into his mother's old potion slab and curl up under the table, imagining he could hear her low humming and the cleaning of cauldrons and spoon as he worked. But even his thoughts of her were tainted with his memories of the moonlit trips into the forest behind their house. Whenever he thought of Moona, his heart hammered in hate, fear, and remembered pain, and he could feel the wolf howling triumphantly inside. His occasional and very brief trip to Diagonal Alley with his reluctant father were highlights of his 5 miserable years as a werewolf. It was while Remus was thinking longingly of another trip to London that large, tawny owl flew in through the half-open back door. Remus watched it vague interest, accepting it to drop a letter at his father's place, and was amazed when it headed towards him instead, letting letter fall into his crumbly plate. "What's that?" his father demanded. "I don't know." Remus picked up the letter gingerly. "It's addressed to me." His voice trailed off as he noticed the coat of arms on the wax seal. It was divided into 4 sections: a lion, a badger, an eagle, and a serpent residing in each one. "What is it?" His father reached over and tried to snatch the letter away. Remus clung to it, heart hammering. "I think it's from Hogwarts," he whispered, barely able to believe. Hogwarts. He remembered his mother's stories of the massive castle up in Scotland, full of magic, children, enchanted ceilings, and disappearing stairs. He had never, in his wildest dreams, thought that they might allow him, revolting little dark creature, within its walls. John Lupin looked too shocked to even punish Remus for trying to evade his grasp. Why would they let something like you go to Hogwarts? Remus opened the letter with trembling fingers. Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Headmaster Albus Dumbledore. Order of Mailing, First Class, Grand Chief Warlock, Supreme Mugwump, International Confed of Wizards. Dear Mr. Lupin, we are pleased to inform you that you have a place at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Please find enclosed a list of necessary books and equipment. Term begins at 1st September. We await your owl by no later than 31 July. Yours sincerely, Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmaster, Mistress. On other piece of parchment, a more personalized letter. Mr. Lupin, we are aware of your lycanthropy, and should you choose to accept your place at Hogwarts, we will provide a safe place for your transformation each month, as well as healthcare from our school healer, Poppy Pomfrey, for any injuries you might sustain. You will have a meeting with the headmaster after the sorting feast on the first day of the term to arrange the details. Minerva McGonagall, Deputy Headmistress. Let me see that, John said, snatching the letter from his son's hand and scanning them with disbelief. They offer you a place. Remus couldn't answer. He was still in shock. As the news gradually began to sink in, he felt a smile begin to form on his face, and a special kind of kindness built in his chest. Those letters not only accepted him into Hogwarts, but also addressed him as he were a human being rather than an animal. Remus had very little contact with anyone except for his father in years following that night, and he was amazed that someone who didn't even know him could treat him this way. Suddenly, for the first time in many years, he remembered his mother's voice as she died. Don't let them turn you into a monster like him. The wolf hasn't changed you. Say it, Remus. The wolf hasn't changed me. He repeated now, voice reverent. His father glared at him, his hated hot coals in amber eyes. For some reason, he looked furious. You are still a dark creature, he said, low and shaking. This doesn't make you human. This doesn't make you like us. You are an animal and a murderer. If it weren't for you, Serena would still be alive. You think the wolf hasn't changed you? Just look in the mirror, boy. Remus ducked his head. Yes, father, don't forget it. As if I could, Remus thought, glancing down at his upper arm that was still bandaged from his transformation a few days ago. As if I ever could. Many weeks later, Remus found himself standing uncertainly between platforms 9 and 10 at King's Cross Station. He was dressed in faded muggle clothing and dragged a padded trunk behind him. After Frederick Greyback's attack, John Lupin hadn't been able to face work for ministry anymore, and as a result, money was always tight. His father had reluctantly taken Remus to Diagon Alley for his school supplies a few weeks before, and although all of his belongings were second-hand, they were more than Remus could either remember owning before. John Lupin had loaded his son onto night bus that morning with few instructions for how to get on the platform, yet Remus couldn't quite find the courage to take that last step. Having been shut away from the world for most of his life, he found so many people and so much space around him, almost more than he could take. It was like finding himself gasping for breath after running too hard, even though the breath themselves burned and ached in his chest, and part of him longed to stop breathing altogether. As he stared at the barrier, a woman and a boy with very messy black hair and glasses approached. The boy was bragging a trunk behind him that looked shiny and new and had name J.M. Potter engraved on the front. The woman glanced at Remus as they approached and took his trunk and lost expression. Are you also new, love? She asked him. Remus was so terrified that being addressed like a human being by strangers that he could only stare at her dumbly. She glanced down at the crumpled ticket in his hand and obviously caught a glimpse of the station platform because she put a hand between his shoulder blades and gave him a gentle shove towards the barrier. "Just walk straight through," she directed him. Remus readily obeyed, towing his trunk behind him. He closed his eyes as he neared the barrier and sped up a little, bracing himself for the impact. When none came, he opened his eyes and found himself on a new platform surrounded by shuddering students and parents, drunks and hooting owls secured in their cages. He stared around in wonder. It was like a diagonal alley, but even noisier. A heel-shrinked steam train stood waiting for students to board. "Where are your parents, love?" He swung around to see a woman and black-haired boy standing behind them. "Aren't they here to see you off?" The thought of his father standing with him now, looking proud of him, giving him a goodnight kiss, was so ridiculous that Remus felt a bubble of bitter laughter well up in his chest. To his horror, it didn't stop there and emerged from his lips in a harsh, grating sound that sounded wrong, rough, and odd. He honestly wasn't the only one who thought so, because a woman took a worried step back and the black-haired boy suddenly looked furious. "Don't laugh at my mother," he said. "How dare you?" "James, don't," the woman began, but Remus had already stopped laughing as quickly as he had started. He felt sudden, desperate urge to get away and turned to hurry as fast as he could towards the nearest train door, dragging his trunk behind him. Since most of the students were still on the platform, there's plenty of free compartments and Remus slipped into one of these, nearly sobbing relief. He shoved his trunk under his seat and sat down, shrinking away from the window so he was shielded by curtains as he stayed at the station. Slowly the train began to fill up. A few people glanced in his compartment and seeing him moved on. At last my boy, who looked to be about Remus' age, with black, greasy hair and rather large nose, talked in. He glanced wittingly as Remus shoved the trunk under the bench opposite and sat down, pulling out a battered book that Remus recognized as the First Year Defense Against the Dark Arts textbook. He began to read. Remus watched him uncertainly. He knew that in order to make friends he needed actually to speak to people, but he wished he'd more practice. "Hello," he tried. The boy raised his dark eyes from his book and looked at Remus with air of true logist, waiting to see if an unusual animal was about to start barking. "My name is Remus Lupin," Remus said, his hands clenching into nervous fist in his lap. "Severus Snape," he said, before turning his eyes back to the book. Remus wondered whether this meant they were friends now. What did friends do? Did they just sit together like this? Did they talk? He thought he should allow Severus Snape to make the next move, but the boy just sat there again, engrossed in his book. There was a loud thud from outside and a muttered exclamation of pain, and the door to their compartment slid open again. To Remus' dismay, it was messy-haired boy of the platform, lugging his heavy trunk behind him. "Can I sit here?" he asked, glancing towards Snape. Then he spotted Remus huddled in the corner. "Oh, it's you," he said with disgust. "You little kid! You upset my mother!" "I did nothing to your mother," Snape chattered, looking up from his book. "Not you. Him." The boy pointed at Remus. I didn't mean..." Remus shuddered, glancing towards Snape. He didn't want his new friend to think he was crazy. "You can't even talk properly," the messy-haired boy said, flicking the withering look over Remus' hands from. "I can't think how..." "No, you may not sit here," Snape interrupted. "You are rude and talk too much." No one asks your opinions, limeball. Snape sneered and turned back to his book. The boy blinked, then turned to Remus again. You deserve it, sir, he said, voice harsh. No wonder your parents didn't come and see you off. They probably didn't want to admit you were their son. Remus felt a flare of hurt and rage rise in him. The wolf woke and peered through his eyes. It whispered at him to leap at the boy and hammer him into the ground until that messy hair was muddied with blood. He fought it. He wanted to stay here. He wanted to go to Hogwarts and be normal like everyone else. He wanted the wolf not to change him. Stay back, he thought, desperately to the raging wolf with him. Stay away. Leave me. I don't need you. Stay until you have come. Please, please, stay back. You are crazy, Percy, standing over him. It was only then Remus realized he had been muttering out loud. His fist first glanced, and there was sheen of sweat in his forehead. Hey, what's going on? All three turned their heads towards the new voice. It was a small boy like themselves, with glossy black hair and smoked grey eyes. He was peering out of the compartment on the opposite side of the corridor with interest. He's completely mental, messy-head boy stated, pointing an accusing finger in Remus' direction. Remus resisted the urge to bite it. You can come to sit here if you like, the boy offered. I'm Sirius Black. You have to be Potter. I know the hair and glasses anyway. Black? Asked the Potter boy, as in most ancient and noble house of Black, blah, 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 blah. And Guster, yes, Black said, making a face. Then Potter looked doubtful. Black gestured to Snape and Remus. Would you rather sit here then? He asked. Potter shrugged and picked up the end of his drum again, dragging it across the corridor to Black's compartment. I'm James Potter, by the way. You were right. They both laughed and the door slammed shut behind them. Remus felt himself relaxing. Thank you, he murmured to Snape. I didn't do it for you, Snape said without looking up from his book. I didn't like him. He was rude and loud and had Gryffindor written all over him. Is that a bad thing? Remus asked, remembering that both of his parents had been in Ravenclaw. Of course, Snape said. Who would want to be in Gryffindor? They are thick-headed, brass, and idiotic. The only house worth being in is Slytherin. Remus didn't answer. He had avidly read Hogwarts history over the summer and knew a lot about the 4 different houses. He didn't want to be in Slytherin. They were known for their precious and pure-blood principles. If a werewolf was discovered amongst them, Remus was terrified of what would happen. He didn't want to be in Ravenclaw either. They were too good at solving puzzles, and they were bound together with his monthly disappearances meant sooner rather than later. He had thought that Gryffindor had sounded ideal, but if that Potter boy was indication of the kind of people that went into that house, he didn't want to be there either. Perhaps he could ask to be sorted in Hufflepuff. Though that was almost comical. Werewolf in Hufflepuff. Neither he nor Snape spoke again as the train meandered its way up to central England and towards the wilds of Scotland.